Kids are in bed?
We hope.
But for how long?
I don't know. Let's hurry.
We got another video here for you fine folks at YouTube.
And we're going to get to say something like a clickbait thing that says, like, we could have made a huge mistake.
But we didn't.
Because we almost did. We almost did.
Yeah. You'll see. Ooh.
Clickbait.
Let's check it out. There's our plan.
It's a plan.
Gotta have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So we started with this plan. And I say start because some things happened along the way.
So the kitchen is not even close to finished. We need to clad.
That's not finished? Oh, man.
Honey, I'm just trying to be generous.
I've just been fiddling around out in the garage. I don't know what you think I'm doing out there, but...
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. Some
I think a
days.
lot of people thought this was finished.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So this is what I'm saying. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. We're calibrating.
There was an outlet in that peninsula. We're cladding the peninsula, by the way. This is what we're doing. We're finishing the peninsula up.
And we thought we were going to clad it with basically like the same look as what the cabinets are going to be, which is this gray
like a shaker.
blue.
Yep.
And a shaker gray blue.
Yep.
What are you doing here? Why are you drawing on the floor?
I have to chip away a little bit of the drywall because drywallers are notorious for in corners. They like over mud. And so what happens is you don't get 90-degree corners. So I had to chip away a little bit of this corner of the drywall just so that I would be able to actually put the shiplap flat up against the wall and then trim it out. Oh, well, not shiplap because, we thought we were going to do shaker.
Well, thank goodness we haven't done any of our trim either.
Yeah, it's just another one of those projects that's just simmering on that back burner.
Yeah, I don't know if it's simmering on the back burner. It's just the list is long.
I think the gas is on. I don't think the light is on.
Okay.
We're probably just getting gassed.
I never saw you do this. I probably would have been a little bit like bummed.
Yeah, I could see that you would not be super down for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for you that you knew that.
Well, it's got to be done.
There's our terrible orange peel.
It's just going to be covered up with the trim. Anyway, you're never going to know.
Well,
that
yeah,
was there.
because you have trim up there now, and I can't see it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good job.
Perfect. See what you never know.
I'm shocked you haven't made a comment about the orange peel.
I also swept up.
Because you can't unsee
Didn't
that.
I do a good job?
You did a very good job.
I'm not a huge fan of the orange peel.
Yeah, I know.
They don't put it on walls where I'm from.
I hate to
say.
I think you're actually from here now.
Oh.
You've been here longer.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
sorry, New England. What are you doing here?
So I decided to, in order to kind of put together this shaker look, I didn't want to just use like 3/4 inch plywood. I thought that would be kind of crazy and over the top. So I found this stuff. It's called like, I forget what the heck it was called, but it was incredibly cheap. It was at the big box store. It was $16 for a 4x8 sheet, and it was basically
what
like...
is it made out of?
Well, it was like what you would make a pegboard out of, like old-fashioned like pegboard that has like 100 holes in it, and then you put a little hook in it, and you might hang something up on there.
Old-timey material?
Yeah. It was like very strong cardboard, but it's not cardboard. Like it's definitely closer to plywood than cardboard.
That goes along with your old-timey theme generally. So,
Sure.
Yep.
But it's only 1/4 inch thick, so it's real easy to cut.
Work with.
And see, I was just gonna clad.
Yep.
Yeah. The entire peninsula with this, and then do a shaker trim around it and in the corners.
But obviously paint it.
Yes. Obviously, yeah.
Okay.
Right here, I'm just dry fitting it, making sure that it actually fits, and it did. It was almost like I took measurements and then cut them. And I just want to circle back for a minute to that outlet. I am not covering a junction box. I want to make that very clear.
Why are you afraid that you're going to get YouTube hate?
I just, people are like, and rightfully so, you shouldn't cover junction boxes. I get that. I didn't cover a junction box. I literally disabled that outlet.
Look at you turning into like a safety person now, suddenly.
I don't know if
Get you some safety glasses.
Okay. And all of a sudden, woof, off he goes. I'm a regular Mike Holmes here. Yep. The king of safety.
Okay, so now you're painting.
So now I'm painting.
You
So I
primed.
primed it first, obviously.
And it looks ugly.
Started having a lot of trouble with the paint. Now, normally it kind of looks like that when I first paint with a particular roller, and this is the problem. So I usually use that roller on the left.
Okay.
That's a high density foam roller.
Okay.
Roller on the right is what the hardware store had, as I didn't want to go all the way to Home Depot.
Okay.
But
Oh, you cheaped out.
yeah, well, the
Dude,
one
you did not tell me that.
I didn't cheap out. I just didn't want to drive there. It probably cost more. Honestly.
I did not know that's how it went down.
So that one on the right, it wasn't
Oh
as
my
high a density of
gosh.
foam, and so it made bubbles. So ultimately, after painting it, I had to sand it down and then paint it again.
Yeah, I remember that whole thing, but I didn't.
This project was just constant
Yeah,
painting.
that looks so
So we mocked it up.
drab.
Yeah, and it was just real dark.
Real heavy.
We were not loving it. And previously it had been the white painted drywall. So it was like we went from white and bright and light to very dark.
I also want to say that our cabinets, like our food pantry cabinets,
Yep.
are going to be that color too. So it was going to be
Yeah, it was going to be a lot
of that color.
Yep.
Like very heavy. Suddenly turning like our very light kitchen, light and bright and airy, into a,
Very
I don't know,
dark. Yeah.
just super
A
heavy.
dark corner.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So we got a new plan.
New plan.
Shiplap.
Yay.
Because when all else fails, shiplap it. Or tile. Shiplap and tile. Story of my house.
Okay, so now you're cutting it down to size.
Yep. And this shiplap comes pre-primed, so that's why I'm masking up for safety.
Good. See? There you
Whoa.
go. There you go.
Crazy stuff.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm doing that beautiful patented Olivera flip action because I still got a really tiny miter saw.
However, since then, you have purchased a pretty expensive planer, and
Well, that does nothing to help me.
I'm just
Cut wood.
saying we're not going to buy all the expensive tools at the same time.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So until then,
I
you're
am
going to have to
grateful
flip.
for my new planer and jointer.
Planer,
They're very exciting.
yes, is one machine,
They've
and
taken
then the
my
jointer
woodworking to another level.
is a different machine.
And that level is just above 0.
Yes.
Look at that. Fantastic cuts. Do the old double cut. And look at that. Caught the board before it fell. I'm getting real good at working with my limited area.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are
So
you
these are
showing
the
us?
side pieces. These are the
Okay.
side pieces. So everything's all cut. I've got our long pieces for the length and then the short pieces for the width.
Yep.
And we're back to painting, which is great because I already painted that other thing, primed it like twice and then painted it twice because of the little roller issue.
And had to go and get the other roller because you
So now here I
decided
am
not to do it
painting
right the
this.
first time.
But the painting eventually came to an end.
Stopped.
Yeah.
No, Peen Bean tried to make a
Yeah,
cameo.
Peanut kind of circles me throughout this. I think you guys were gone, and so Peanut was like, how come I'm all alone here with just Dad?
There she is.
Yeah, she was gonna hold the level.
She's a cutie.
Yeah, she was really helping me out.
She probably would if she could.
Yeah. Actually, she was just telling me I was doing it wrong.
I could also see that.
Dad, you're doing it wrong. Oh my gosh.
She's of
Is there even
the
a stud back there?
she's of the Izzy
Dad, you're
ilk.
for sure covering a junction box, aren't you? I can tell. I'm not covering a junction box, I swear.
She would for sure call you out for that.
I got out the big guns. We got the 6-foot level here.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure we're super duper level.
Where did you get that?
Oof, the flooring store?
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not. I mean, I think it's for like when you're laying a lot of tile in a very big space.
Floor
But
decor
it's
and more?
That's the one, I think. I don't think there's a more in there.
I know.
I think it's just floor and decor.
I like to add the more.
Okay. Well, they do have more.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So you're putting the second one on.
Yep. So
And
now we're
we've-
just making sure the nails, I think I use 16 gauge finishing nails,
Okay.
making sure that they're in studs and just, stacking the shiplap. It's a pretty simple process.
And we previously had tried to caulk in between the lines, and it turned out terrible.
Yeah, so caulking in between the lines on real shiplap. A lot of people are doing nickel gap these days and calling it shiplap. It's a little bit different. It has a very definitive gap in between the boards. Shiplap is different in that the boards kind of come together as one. And so the tendency is for people to, at least from what I've seen, is for people to caulk those seams. And I tell you, it's like a terrible idea because obviously the wood expands and contracts seasonally, from summer to winter. And
it looks terrible.
I've tried a million different types of caulk, and like I can't find one, even the flexiest, most guaranteed to stretch, 2 inches. That stuff will eventually get kind of like translucent and almost crack in the wintertime. So I don't know. So what we're doing here is we're just not caulking the seams. I painted it, we're not caulking the seams, and as it expands and contracts, like the line will just like open a little bit more, like the shadow line, and then it'll just close up a bit more.
Yeah, and then it's even.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it looks better.
We did not make one inappropriate joke during that entire time.
Wow, okay. Great.
I'm surprised.
Good for us.
I know.
We didn't get canceled from YouTube.
I know.
Okay, once again, not covering a junction box here. Just so everybody knows. I put a cover on this temporarily just because I didn't want my kids to play with it.
Look at you.
It's
making
dead.
Sure that
the Romex wires in there are dead. They're not attached to anything.
They're dead, YouTube.
I just couldn't pull them out because they were like stapled into the wall. So I had to leave them there. And I just figured Izzy would just yank in there and be like, what is this? Let me pull this out and play with it.
That's exactly
I'm sure
what she would do.
I can turn this into a jump rope or something. Right?
Today she tried to use the metal hose as a jump rope.
Oh.
And I was like, hey, I don't think that's a good idea.
Do the people know why we have a metal hose? My wife went through 2 pocket hoses in like 3 months.
Okay, I love how
so
your
I Googled,
story.
what is the strongest hose on planet Earth?
Okay.
And in comes this bionic steel
We
hose.
found out from a very lovely neighbor. Shout out to Emma.
Oh, she got the bionic steel hose too.
Because she went through a few, and she's not overly rough or aggressive with the stuff. So it was the problem was the hoses, not us.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's the hoses.
Who knows?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So on the side here, this is just going into plywood. It's not going into like an actual stud wall, like on the back of the Peninsula. So here I just used a shorter finishing nail to make sure that I didn't shoot nails through my new dishwasher. Which seems like a pretty good idea, right? I mean, kudos to me for thinking of that.
I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these are the things we don't say because
that would have been. Yeah. I would have
people get worried
been
when
concerned.
The dishwasher suddenly doesn't work. Why does this dishwasher not work? And why are there so many nails inside of it?
I have to give you credit because I did not think we were going to, I just didn't even process that we would need like a trim on that corner, but it would have looked so bad without a trim.
Yeah, the thing about real shiplap too, going back to, so, a lot of people, when you use nickel gap, a lot of people use like MDF. And so that stuff, it doesn't expand or contract. Yeah, we got Isabel's helping us out here. She's always helping me out. Now I got to fill all these holes, which is a major bummer. But that nickel gap shiplap, if you will, when it's made of MDF, it doesn't expand or contract. So it's a really good idea. But I like the wood.
Yeah, right? I like the wood too.
Yeah, so if I were to miter that corner and bring them together, the expansion and contraction would pull all those miters apart every like 3 or 4 months. So.
Although we're going to need to make friends with someone outside of the state to get us some white lacquer paint, right?
Yeah, for whatever reason, the primer that they put on those boards at Home Depot, it doesn't actually cover knots. So when you go to finish paint over it, the knots all come right back through. And the state of California is not a huge fan of shellac, so.
Oh, it's shellac.
Like oil-based shellac, which you can use to cover knots when you're painting. So this is a little bit of ingenuity by me. I had to do like a rip on this trim to make like a custom trim piece.
Oh, so you put a little template on it, or
I double stick tape a 2x4 to it, and then use that against the fence to rip into it so that it didn't tear out.
That's a really good idea.
I'm pretty sure somebody on YouTube did it, and then I stole it.
I was gonna say, that's very original.
To be fair, I didn't go looking for it. It was already in my brain, but I was like, somebody else did this first.
It was in the ether.
Yeah, this wasn't. Yeah.
Well, sorry, whoever he stole it from.
So this is about the 8th time, I think, I've painted this peninsula. And here it's very late at night.
At first felt bad for you, but now that I'm finding out for the first time that you didn't get the proper roller, I don't feel that bad.
Well, that only was for the, when we were doing the shaker look that we didn't end up doing.
I know. I'm just saying. So that would have been 2 or 3 times that
it
you
still
would have had to
required
paint
a lot more painting because ultimately we switched courses and went with the shiplap. Just putting some finishing nails in there. Like these aren't finishing nails actually. These are like pin nails, 23 gauge, little teeny tiny guys that you can't even see.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I think that's it. We're done.
That's
right?
nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, I got to caulk the seams, and Izzy's got to do a little dance for us. So.
Oh my gosh.
She and Peanut are all over this thing.
She is. They love this. They're all about the peninsula.
All finished up.
Nice and clean and light.
Yeah, I think it came out great.
I do too.
I like it a lot better than that blue-gray blob.
Agreed. New stools, though.
Jeez.
Good job, babe.
Always something. Well, we almost blew it.
Almost.
But we didn't.
But we didn't.
We recovered.
Yes,
and
fully.
Look at what we did.
It's pretty. It's light.
Hey,
it's nice.
Not bad.
Yeah.
And it matches the 7,000 other treatments of shiplap we have in the house.
Okay, we have 3 others.
This is the house of shiplap.
No, it's not. 3 others.
Okay. Should I stop asking you about links? Do we have links?
We have links.
We have links. Hey.
Of course we have links.
They're probably down below.
They are.
You know where they are. Check them out. Click them. Help us out.
Subscribe, most importantly.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Like. Hey. Check us out over on Instagram. We got reels. I know what a reel is.
It took a few months.
But I learned.
Thank you.
That's it. We'll see you next time.
Bye.